AFEX is an idea. The name AFEX, it means African experience. What we do is education consultancy. We enhance education, and that means that we help our students prepare for schools in the US and Canada. We help them to prepare for some of the entrance exams, like the SATs, the SSATs, the GRE, Math, and the language proficiencies like the TOEFL and IELTS.
I came to AFEX for tutelage for my SATs, which I did in August. The SAT is a standardized test. So the more tests you do, the better you become, basically. AFEX offers you the resources to do this test. It gives you past papers. It tells you how you're supposed to answer the questions. I managed to score 1460 in the SATs, which put me in the top 1% of the world during my time, something I'm proud of and something I don't think I could have achieved without AFEX guidance.
At first, the classes were a bit rough because, being in 844, I was in a Lance Girls High School before. We mostly did math. It was mostly rigid subjects. And when we came here, we had to do also English and writing, and a lot of writing, I must say. But the good part was we had such amazing teachers and mentors who would guide us and take us through the whole process.
I definitely received value for money by going to AFEX. And I say this from the fact that I saw my SAT scores improve from the time I entered AFEX and the time that I sat my official paper. There was generally a great improvement in my score, in my confidence in approaching the paper, and the practice and the time and the effort that they put into ensuring that I achieved what they had said that I would achieve was something that I really appreciated.
The other side of it is also to help them apply for these schools in the US. It goes through some processes, and so we try as much as possible to help them go through that process. It's kind of a bit cumbersome and tedious, but what we do is that we want to help these high school students who are thinking of applying to schools in the US and Canada to go through the process smoothly, and that's where AFEX sits at the top.
AFEX has been an asset to me, basically. AFEX has helped me apply to at least 5 schools so far under the guidance of Mr. Lawson and Maria. Mr. Lawson is really vigorous with how perfect your essay should be, for one. He weeds out every single grammatical error you might have. And there are also some stylistic devices you might use that come out wrong. So they try to find the best way for you to say something, but it's still unique to you. It doesn't lose your personality.
I never really knew the amount of time and work that it took to apply on your own. And I remember seeing my best friend applying to the US on her own. She got in, but it was quite a challenging task for her. So the assistance that AFEX gave me, the support, there was still a lot of pressure, but it gave me comfort to know that someone who has done it before is helping me do the same.
And at first I only was there for my SATs, but then they also were very interested. They showed a lot of interest in what I wanted to, where I wanted to go and what I wanted to study and what schools would be best for me. So after coming for a few SAT classes, I just ended up consulting with them as well.
And when I went to AFEX test prep, they were very welcoming. First of all, what they did, they analyzed my scores. They asked what would I like to venture into, and from there they decided to work with me. So they identified my weaknesses, and what they did was to go on and give me extra classes on to learn how to write really well essays and do so much that I didn't expect I would learn from there.
What these universities look for is primarily academics. It forms a big part of their consideration, what you do in the 4 years of your high school education. The reason is for them to understand the kind of student you are and whether you are continuously progressing or improving academically. The other thing they look for is what we call the extracurricular activities or the co-curricular activities. So they also look out for students who have used their free time productively. They are doing sports, they are doing music, they are inventing little things on their own. They are part of competitions, math, science, They look out for all of that. So basically, they want multi-dimensional students.
I believe that that speaks to the school, shows them the kind of person you are. It also shows your interests and your hobbies. And I believe that's important for them because it gets to show them a glimpse of who you are, the things you enjoy doing, and what you stand for.
They also want to look at students who are in touch with their roots. Now, because students who are going there are Africans, they want to admit Africans. So they want students to demonstrate that connection with their culture, with their community, and with their environment. We try to take the parents along the process. What we normally do is that when we have a student come to us, we always want to meet the parents first. We want to let them understand what they are getting into. There's financial implications. There's a change in culture. You'll be wondering what they'll be doing there, and so on and so forth. And so we do take the child and the parents through the process, and they're actually with us all along the way.
I must admit that AFEX has the right advisors, starting with the director of the center. They would call you in for a consultation, having looked at your child's grades, their resume, you know what they have put down, what they've been able to achieve, and then they're able now to talk to you about the right school for your child.
I remember when I came to AFEX, one of the questions I asked at first is, are you talking to students beyond the classroom, or is it just about the test? And they told me they are working with counselors, working with mentors, and honestly, I've seen a change in my son. Because I was worried, you know, he's just turned 19. I'm thinking this boy will now be in a different country all by himself. But I think the work that AFEX is doing, they are actually touching a bit beyond the book. And they are teaching them on life skills, survival out there, and basically adaptation to a different environment.
The issue of scholarship is a big thing, especially for parents. We do realize that most kids don't think about that much, but for parents, it's a big part of the process, and we do understand that at AFEX. But a key thing that we need to remember is that not everyone qualifies for a full 100% financial aid. Not everyone will get everything. Some students come from poor homes and they deserve to be supported entirely, and the schools understand that.
For me, it was very important that I get a scholarship. The costs are really high when you think about it, moving to a different country, having to buy things like beddings, winter clothes, or clothes for different weathers that you've never been exposed to in Kenya. It was very paramount for me to get a scholarship.
I come from Moyale, and while there, the experiences were also not that good. The kind of exposure other schools have, the opportunities other students were given, for me, I think the school did not offer that much. So I think the kind of experiences I got at AFEX really contributed to me getting those scholarships, because most of the essays I wrote for those scholarships, they were very, very outstanding. And some of the students even, they had a higher grade than me, but the fact that I passed through AFEX, I know the hacks, what you can do, what the admission officers want, you know, the experiences, like what they advised me at AFEX. So I used them independently. Even I think most of my instructors don't know I applied for the scholarship. So through them, through the experiences I got.
I would highly recommend the center because I am a fulfilled parent, and I have also been a big proponent and ambassador of the center to those parents that I know would want their children to study in the US or in Canada.
When you are happy with somebody or something, it's always good to spread the good word. We were well received right from day one. I did not know what to expect, but after going through the briefing and after seeing the way they are preparing my son for SATs, I would honestly recommend any other parent to come here, because I know immediately your child transits from high school, it's a difficult moment as we are trying to make a decision where next. But after I landed in AFEX, the search stopped. So I would actually recommend AFEX to any other parent.
So I would like to encourage every other 844 student who's currently coursing through high school, not sure, just aiming for Kenyan schools, that there are so many opportunities abroad. I, for one, know that I didn't have so much information about studying abroad, but I did know I was very interested in it. AFEX is not just about the studies and the SATs rather, it's more about the mentorship and the family that you get as you go along.